Then I believe you're
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, so this is our topic for today. So this is our topic for today. We're looking at the various components. We've actually discussed the components of project management in one of our earlier classes, right? Talking about the project initiation, the start off on the project. But we want to know these phases in details. What does it entail, and what do I need to do as a member of the team or as a project manager? And all these artifacts I've learned, where and how do I apply it towards making the project a successful one? The aim of every project member is to have a successful project, right? And the more reason why you should work as a team, because the success of a project, the success or failure of any project depends on the team. And you should be a good team player. We are very clear. Being a good team player in Octave. Why? Because we work as a team, and you can even work as a team across many projects. So we need you to be an active and cooperative team player. So I'm going to go quickly into the details of the physics and of the analytics project, and then we'll discuss it together today. So just like I mentioned, every project, analytics or any other kind of project, has a start and end date, right? And it goes through a life cycle. At the end of a project, they might decide to extend the project, which is good for us, right? But every project, though sometimes clients don't even have an end date, they just say, oh, come to our place, come and set up an analytics team for us and keep working for us on contract basis, and we have a renewable contract with you. But as a good project manager, within the time frame of every renewable contract, you must define your goals, and then you must plan to achieve them. In fact, it would also be very beneficial to you if your client is aware of your defined goals within those renewable contract period, because most times they judge you based on the goals you have achieved. And if you are right on track in communicating these goals with your clients, then it makes your life easier, and also it makes your client to be aware of what you're doing on the project. Because sometimes clients will just wake up one day and just be like, these people, what are they even doing? Well, what have they been doing? And yet you and your team, you've been working so assiduously, but you must be able to define key metrics for your project, whether within a contract period or whether within an agreed project life cycle, right? So it is very important to have a life cycle so as to be transparent and time bound, right? So sometimes, just like I explained earlier, sometimes a project life cycle is defined by clients to say, oh, we want you guys to come and implement analytics project for us within 6 months or within 1 year, right? And after then, we can discuss whether we would renew your contract or not. Sometimes the client may not give you a definite date. They might just say, oh, come and start analytics. We have this problem. Come and help us solve it. And while you are here, we'll pay you on a monthly basis. We have such contract agreements with one client, right? So they're on a monthly, like we have a renewable contract with them on a quarterly basis, and we are being paid on a monthly basis, right? So in such a project, what we just do is define our goals within the renewable contract period. So as a good project manager, that may not be visible to them because they don't even have a project manager, right, relating with us. So, but within us, someone takes up the responsibility of planning for the team, you understand? And then, coming up with goals and key metrics, indicators for the set achievements within the team for delivering to the client. So if you time bound an activity, it's usually easier to measure the performance. You can even apply that to your own personal life. When you have activities or set of activities to perform, and you place yourself under time restriction, under a time bound that within the next within a month or within the quarter, I want to become DASCA certified. Let me use that example. Once you place a time to it, your mind will be at it. But if you don't place any time to it, you will just likely be thinking there is more time until when you find. So that's a commonsensical principle that applies across any form of activities that we want to achieve a success upon. You just decide to time box the activity, and then that way you can measure if you're on track and if you have been able to deliver with quality on that activity. I keep seeing bad network. I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm
We can hear you,
seeing a
ma'am.
bad network prompt. Okay, it's fine then. But if at any time you can't hear me or my voice is breaking, just pause, as in just unmute and say something. Okay, because I may just be talking on like that and not checking. Okay, so like we've always been talking on project management, we're particular about time, we're particular about cost, we're particular about quality, right? And it's easier to measure these things when you place a bound on them. When you place a bound on your time, on your cost, on your quality, that this is our minimum quality that I want to achieve, or these are the metrics for. It's easier for you to, measure kind of, performance to your. Okay. Network is back now. Network went off. Just like I said, no matter what project it is that you are preparing for, the project management life cycle can assist you and your team in narrowing the project focus and keeping it objectives in order. So finish the project on within the budget and within the as you within the team. Okay, so let's go to the project initiation phase. The initiation phase, just like the name says, is the first phase of project management lifecycle, and it is at this phase that that you okay, let me put it this way. So from time to time, we prospect on new clients. So prospecting on new clients simply means that you submitted a proposal, right? That might not be done by you guys, might be done by the chief marketing officer or the CEO or the top business guy. So they go about prospecting clients, sending proposals, calling them up, telling them, oh, we are Octave Analytics, we can do this wonderful things for you. We can help you get great data insights. We can help you turn your data into interesting things for you and stuff like that. So they package all this into proposals. They go for meetings, and then after a while, or once the client is convinced, the client then gives an offer letter. So an offer, just like you get an offer letter for a job, the client also gives an offer letter for a project to say, okay, we're interested in what you guys do and would like to have you guys come on board to also to do this, to help us solve these issues that we're experiencing. So sometimes clients will mention to you that these are the issues they're experiencing as per their data analytics or as per working with data in their organization or stuff like that. Sometimes clients will have specific needs, but at other times they may not have specific needs. They may just be like, oh, in our organization we have this budget for implementing data analytics solution, or we have this budget for IT related stuff, right? And we are interested in what you do. We'd like you to come and implement something for us. So that way, we are the one going to them and implementing what we have discussed in our proposal with them, right? So it could come in various ways like that. I'm mentioning these things to you because in Octave, we groom people, and from time to time, we take people along for meetings. So when these things are being discussed in meetings, they would not be strange to you, and that way you can also upskill, you can also learn how these things are being done, right? So so once all this has been agreed on and an offer letter has been issued, then we kickstart the project initiation phase. So in the project initiation phase, right, the goals or the business case and vision for the analytics project team will be discussed and agreed upon. Now, before this can be done, the team needs to perform some background checks, do some initial research, do some feasibility study on the company, and decide on some of these things that has been discussed. Because at times, just like I said, clients at times don't even really have clear understanding of what they want. In some other cases, they might have some data problems that they are looking forward to solving. So irrespective of which side of the curve that the client falls, you need to agree with clients that these are the things that you need and will be providing for you. You need to make clients see their need. You need to help them to also see how you can come in, right, and agree these things with them. Now, this may be subject to change later on in the lifetime of the project, but there must be an agreed kickoff point to say, oh, this is what we are working towards, right? And then that way, clients can measure your progress, measure the team's progress, and the team can as well focus on the need from the client. So it is also during this phase. Okay, so I've mentioned, so all that will be agreed upon in goals and projected benefits. So what are the goals that this project intends to achieve, and what are the need from the eyes of the client? What will benefit this client on the analytics project? Most times we list all of this in our proposals, but proposals sometimes could be generic. All right, but after the offer, you then need to sit together with clients and agree to specific goals and objectives for the project. So during the project initiation phase, you are also getting to know the client better, and you also need to identify your key stakeholders from your client. You need to, they may not mention the names to you, but in your meetings with them, or you can even decide to ask, maybe on the day of the project kickoff date. So after the offer letter, there's the client and the team as and the vendor, yeah, Octave Analytics in this case, we agree to a project kickoff date. So a project kickoff date would likely bring together the stakeholders from, and then stakeholders, and then project team from the vendor. So it's easier for you to identify your key stakeholders on your project kickoff date. But irrespective of that, before the project kickoff date, you should begin to know or ask questions about who your key stakeholders are. You need to know who your executive, you need to know who your executive management from the client angle, who they are, right? And then those who have key interest in the project, you need to know who they are. Then also, this might be silent within the project team, but it's very important from our various experience with working on projects. We've also seen that we can't do without the IT team. So you also need to identify your IT team from your client angle, because they are the data custodian, and you need to be in good relationship with them so that you can work with their data. IT team can frustrate you on the project, and they are the ones also that would likely be given the task of allocating system resource on the project from the client. So you need to identify them as your key stakeholders, the IT team of your client. You need to know who the network security guy is, because if he doesn't provide you proper tunnel or channel to connect to their, then you can't even do anything. You understand? Then your data custodians, like the guys in charge, the data, what do I call them for you? Yeah, like the data administrator guys. They are usually within the IT team. The data administrator guys in the IT team of your client, you also need to know who they are, because they are the ones that usually have the domain knowledge of your client's data and will be able to put you through to understanding their data. Because if you don't understand the data, there might be some data hiding somewhere, and if you are not asking questions or have a good relationship with the data administrator guy that has the domain knowledge, then you won't be able to make headway. You understand? So all the key stakeholders from your client angle, you need to understand, you need to know them, you need to give them special recognition. Sometimes you can go as far as, if you're a project manager, you can go as far as, wishing them well on, festive periods, or maybe on their birthdays, just to, cement a good relationship, with your stakeholders, especially those ones that you need for your daily activities, right? And then the executive sponsors, you need to know them so that whenever request is coming from them, you can place priority on them. You can know how to relate to them, even on emails. You don't just write flat emails to them anyhow. You must accord them respect. You don't necessarily, officially, you don't have to, how do I put it? The official greeting is loud, like you can say dear sir, dear ma, right, to your executive sponsors, right? You need to accord them the respect, cement a proper relationship with them. The project scope must be well defined. Also, implementation phase, right? Know your timelines. This you can easily come up with the right that we've discussed about, right? Then you must identify your deliverables. So your deliverables are time bound. Your deliverables should also be in line with your goals. So but you can then break your goals into short-term, middle-term, long-term deliverables. So, in month 1, these are the things we intend to achieve and stuff like that. So all of that, project scope, deliverables, they are all together within your project planning. And you can use your project planning tools and artifacts to achieve that. Then identify your risk, right? The risks are usually documented in the project offers and in your proposals, right? But you must know them and know the mitigators. That's know how you can avert them. So one usual risk, one popular risk that we normally as an analytics team is memory space utilization risk. Many a times we easily run out of memory. So what we usually do to mitigate the effect is to always request for a very, very, very large memory so that before we run out of it, it will take a long while. But irrespective of our request on the proposal, clients most times still give us lower than the memory space we request for. But because you are aware and you've checkmate what you have requested for against what they are giving you, then you already know that's a risk. And then you can mention it to the client ahead of the project that this is a risk. And when there's a red flag on it, I'm going to raise it up again. So identify such risk. Also identify risks that may occur within your team. Risk like key man resource. So as a team or as a project manager, you must ensure that there is distribution of that. You must be able to know what others are doing, and others must be able to know what you are doing, so that there is no gap within the team as a result of a member of the team leaving the time. So those are some of the resources. Those are some of the risks that can come up, within a project, and you must be able to identify them at the start of your project and know how to mitigate. Then define the project resource, cost, and budget. This is also necessary. Cost for analytics project might usually be borne by both clients and vendor. The cost might include purchasing laptops, servers, licenses for, right? So this is usually contained in the proposal, and the client is aware of the cost and ready to bear the cost apportioned to them. But you must be aware of all these costs. Then the staff cost. Well, the staff cost, the staff cost is also important because sometimes you might, after getting on the project, you might need
My line is breaking. I can't hear you anymore. Am I just the only one?
Ma, we are unable to hear you.
an additional human
Hello, ma. We're unable to hear you. Hello?
an additional person to join the
Hello, ma. We're unable to hear you.
project website, and should also for the project. Because this you can discover these people additional people on this project and starting moving, right? So sometimes we those interns or something, even person to help with some more challenges that we need to get done with on the project. So as a project manager, when you need people resource and how to utilize them, you don't just add people to the team for adding sake, right? You must also be able to justify what each person on the team is doing and what they are set to achieve. So there's a lot to be done at the project initiation phase because it's actually the bedrock of the project. And when you have a solid plan, it helps your project to scale properly. It helps you to achieve quality on your project. But if the plan is not proper, if the planning is shabby, then you might begin to have problems within the life cycle of your project. So it is very important to take note of all the things and know how to, solidify plans so that you can have a project life cycle. So the project artifacts that you use during the project initiation phase are very, very important documents for your project, and they are subject to change, but it's for the project. So some of the questions that would guide you into coming up, you need to identify why a project is being undertaken. I mentioned to you, sometimes it's having. So you must, your goal is problem, because if you are not solving their problem, we've engaged to solve the problems persist. We need to review your contact, and you don't and specified any problem.
Ma, we're unable to hear you clearly.
Okay, I think it's my network. Let me see. Hold on. I think it's network. What about now? Hello, can you hear me better now? Or is it still cracking?
It's better now.
It's better now.
Okay.
It keeps going on and on.
It's network. I'm just trying to check up on the network bar on my phone. But I think I have full network on my phone now. Okay, so these are the questions that will guide you for coming up with a good project plan. I've discussed some of these things already in detail, but this is just a way of itemizing them and putting up a check on each of the questions. The question here is, what specific strategic gaps and initiatives needs to be students to like strategic, to your clients to help them solve Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello, ma'am. It's better now.
Is network or is MTN network? I don't know what's wrong with them this morning. Okay, it's been unstable even since I started the training class. I've been seeing prompts of poor network quality, and then it suddenly went off. Okay, let's go on. Let's see how much we can do. I believe the network should be stable now. If not, you have the material. You would go on with the material yourself. Okay, so that's that on project initiation phase. There are 5 phases. Let's move on to the next one quickly. So once the project has been initiated and you've put together your artifacts for a solid plan, and you've identified your stakeholders, you understand? You've also itemized your project goals with key deliverables and timelines and everything, then you are ready to run. You're ready to run. So next thing is just to, then continue with your now broaden those plans. So the project initiation and then the planning phase, they are very seamlessly together. They're almost into each other. So in the planning phase, you're also, broadening on your project deliverables and your requirements. You're making it well defined. You're coming up with your detailed Gantt chart, your detailed project schedule. Then you're like, for people who enjoy football, you're putting team players into strategic roles. So looking at their strength, right, and their time, time span. So for strategic roles like that you require a longer time span, then you won't want to put an intern there, because an intern, or a copper, right, could have a short time span. They could just, leave the team abruptly. But you want to look at people's strength, and their strength may not necessarily be on what they can do now, but what they can also be made to do, right? So looking at people's ability to learn and willingness to learn, you can absorb them within the team and begin to, give them tasks to do and make them responsible and for the tasks they do. And that way, the team is growing, the work is going on seamlessly. Everybody knows their roles and responsibilities, and they are working towards the success of the team. Of the team and of the project. And you are tying each of these responsibilities to your deliverables, defining the requirements. These things are not sometimes rigid. In fact, many times they are not rigid. They are subject to change. So from time to time, as a project manager, you can review your project schedule, right? You can, and the Scrum Sprint board, the Scrum way of project planning helps you to make your project plan very agile. Okay, so that way, once you have defined your deliverables, you can put them in the backlog. The backlog is like, the backlog on the sprint dashboard is like where is a place where you have the list of all your goals and objectives, and then they are just sitting there waiting to be assigned. So you can, from your backlog, pick up tasks to assign to team players, and you can also return tasks to your backlog and pick them up to reassign to someone else. So it's a mixture of many things, you understand? It's a mixture of, putting together various artifacts to help you plan your project. And don't assume planning in your head. That's the mistake most people do. Don't assume planning in your head. For people we assign the roles of project managers, we always advise them to have something like a diary or a notebook wherein they put in, even as a team player, you should have a notebook of things you want to achieve within the team, or assignment or tasks that you've been given with set timelines, you understand, and work towards it, right? So it's important you work that way. It would even help you as an individual to manage your time and manage the quality you deliver on projects. So that's that on project planning. So it's necessary you create a project plan. It's also necessary you create a resource plan. So resource planning means you are placing team players to tasks and to resource achievements on the project. So you provide information about the level of resource. Just like I mentioned earlier, you need to know their strength and their availability to be able to, resource plan every team member properly. Then you should have a financial plan. You should have a set budget for your project. As a project manager, you should have a high level understanding of the cost on the project, right? And the cost on your resource. So if your client is paying a value, let's say your client is paying an X amount for you guys doing the analytics, for paying an X amount for the vendor getting on the analytics project for them on a quarterly basis. Quarterly basis is 3 months. So within that 3 months, staff salaries are being paid. Within that 3 months, other staff costs are being incurred, probably things like transportation, additional costs, or other costs that might involve staff or other form of resource, probably license cost that is attributed to vendor, not to client, might be incurred. So you should be able to know the total cost on the resource on the project, so that you can justify it with the cost that the client is paying, the price that the client is paying, and know if you guys are making a profit or a huge profit on the project, right? Because if the profit margin is very small, then your boss is likely to, to be weary of you asking for additional resource on the project. You understand? So you must be able to manage your staff cost, your time, your resource cost, right, on the project. And that way and creating a financial plan, will help you with that. Then create a quality plan, right? Create a risk plan. So all of this we've discussed, in project initiation phase, but the project planning phase just helps you to put a documented approach and a plan to it. So also create a communication plan, an acceptance plan. I would like to do more on communication plan. So as a project person, you should be able to identify quality ways of communicating within the team and outside the team. So in Octave Analytics, in some projects, we do like a weekly review project meeting. In some projects, we do like an everyday Scrum kind of agile meeting, 15 minutes every day, and then we just, discuss your challenges, your tasks and then what you've done yesterday, right? But as a project manager or as a member of a team, you must be able to understand how to communicate to your project manager that, oh, these are the tasks you have given me and these are the things I've achieved on them. These are the challenges I'm having. But if as a team player, you are not saying anything, whether they give you tasks or not, you just stay and you are waiting, then that way you might not be helping yourself or helping the project. When you don't have, when your hands are light and you are not having much to do, you should be able to communicate to your project manager to say, oh, I am kind of free at the moment. I need you to assign some tasks to me. Or you should be able to communicate to your project manager to say, oh, I have identified these tasks to be done and I would like to get on those tasks. Is that fine with you? You must be able to communicate. I have some team members like that, they don't communicate, and that way you just feel they are not doing anything, right? So you don't wait till the end of your, you don't wait till you are asked or wait till another meeting or another project review session before you communicate your challenges. No, you should be able to put a call through or send an email to whoever is assigned the role of project manager within your team to communicate. Or sometimes if it's something you need to escalate or take beyond your project manager to someone who is above, then it's fine, right? But it's always good to have good relationship, build on the good relationship and learn to communicate. Learn to communicate. It is very important. And for the project manager, it's very, very, very important to know how to communicate with your client key stakeholders. You must have a plan on what you'll be communicating to them daily or weekly or even quarterly to show them progress on the ongoing project. So communication is very, very important. You can see I've dwelled so much on it. It's very important. So the next phase, which is the cream on the cake, is the project execution. I call it cream on the cake because it is when you actualize your plans, and it is what defines the project, right? And it is what makes the project visible. If you have all the beautiful plans and all that and you're not implementing anything, then sorry, we are still back to square one. But of course, implementation is solid when you have a solid plan. So it is what defines your project, but it is premised on a good plan for the project. So execution is all about building the deliverables that you have set to achieve, right? And these deliverables should, as much as possible, be visible to your clients. Your clients should be able to see these deliverables. It should be something they can feel, they can touch, they can see, they can use by themselves. So for our kind of analytics project, our deliverables are in forms of visualization. Like we put up dashboards, dazzling dashboards, we put up business insights, as recommendations from their data. Then another key deliverables we also help with for our clients is we help them set up an analytics data store or a data warehouse. So for many of our clients, their data are sitting on various decentralized servers, you understand? But we help them to harness this data together and come up with a data warehouse. So, this is something that we also need to make visible to them. So how do we make it visible? We come up with like a documentation on the data transformation, how we have been able to help them transform their data from what it was to what it now is, come up with data dictionary, come up with metadata around their data. Like metadata is, details, giving details on their data, and how you can, turn like a relationship based data, like, right, into a wide, database, gives you more information and helps you with analytics on the data. So those are our project execution. Those are the things we do. Then we also, are keen on answering data questions from the clients, deriving insights for the clients to solving their data problems. So once you have, itemized all your deliverables, your project execution phase then helps you to tick off on, delivering on them, and the method with which you have, delivered on all these assigned works and efforts of the team. So what are those things you should, do to help your project execution phase? You should assemble the project team, right? So you've identified the kind of resource you would need on a project. You likely need a data engineering resource. You need a data visualization expert. You would need a data scientist. And sometimes these roles might be 3-in-1 roles, might be one person being able to do all of this. In fact, in Octave, we pride on grooming individuals that can do this many roles all together. So you understand data, you can go into the data yourself and write scripts and procedures that will, that can be used to create data maps that will then be visualized to make visible insights from the data. So we pride in grooming people to be able to perform end-to-end processes on the data, right? So though sometimes we also measure on people's strength. Like if we see that, oh, you are very good at the back end, we can assign you more such roles. But that does not mean that sometimes we'll not assign you, some work effort to come up with some visualizations and all that. Why? Because we want you to learn. We want you then we also want knowledge distribution. We don't want a wide gap whenever a team member is unavailable. Yeah, even if you can't, replicate what that person does. Let's say you're a back-end guy and you are not very fantastic with data visualization. So you should be able to make modifications to whatever a data visualization expert has done and come up with something new. You understand? So we pride in the fact that we are able to groom you to be the best that you can be. And that way, some people have even discovered themselves that, oh, I can even do this other part so well, right? So those are the ways we, assign resources and groom them to performing tasks. Then the execution project management plans, you should set your schedule into action. Then you should also direct and manage the team as a project manager, or even as a project team member. You should be able to set a focus for yourself and work towards achieving those project objectives. So the next thing is project monitoring. So in monitoring the project, you should be able to update on your Gantt chart to say, oh, these are our deliverables, right? And we have been able to deliver on these things. So from time to time, there should be a review session There's usually a review session within the team. There's also a review session with your client stakeholders. So you don't wait till your client stakeholders request for a review session. You can initiate a review session with them. You can come up with a quarterly session with them and discuss with them what we've been able to achieve on the project. However, for many of our projects, when it's time for payment or time for project renewal, then our clients would then usually ask for a review session with us. So as a project manager, you should be prepared for that. So it's good you initiate it, but even if you don't, then be prepared that at any time you might be caught unawares to have a review session with your client, right? So it's important to be able to measure your milestones, to say, okay, these are the things we have achieved, these are the things we're working on to achieving, right? And that way you can quality check on your project tasks to see that this is the phase we're in, we're moving towards closing the project, or we're behind time, we are behind time schedule, or we are right on track, right? So the review session is always very, very important. So review session within the team, review session with your stakeholders. Review session, for the review session within the team, your RASI model would be a very good artifact to use, because in your RASI model, you know those who are responsible for performing an action, and then you also have a status to say this has been completed, this is pending, this is new, right? So those are some of the artifacts that can help you with your project monitoring. Then your sprint board is also a very good one. There are several online tools that you can even use to collaborate within the team to monitor progress. There are some other ones, I can mention them. You can use something like the Basecamp. The Basecamp online tool can be used to collaborate within the team to measure progress. You can also use Trello board. Trello board is also very useful to collaborating within the team to measure progress. The crude way of doing it is, writing on a notebook and measuring on tasks to see, these are my notes, and these have been achieved, these have not been achieved, and stuff like that. So it's just very important to measure progress on the team, monitor progress within the team and outside the team, and communicate the project being made so that there are no surprises at any time of the project. Everybody is aware and knows if the project is on track or if the project is behind schedule, or you are all working within agreed timelines. So as you move on with the project, as you go on and go on, a time comes when the project draws to your end goals, and then there's a project closure. Though for many of our projects, what we try to ensure to do is to ensure a project renewal, right? So that the project can go on. And once the client is happy and sees that, yes, you are delivering on the project, or they need you, they can't do without you guys, then there will be a renewal, right? Except if for some clients, these things are based on allotted timelines and they don't plan a renewal, then in such case, there might not be a renewal, but then there will be a closure, a proper closure. So let's just look together at what a proper project closure should entail. So in a project closure, every member of the team and the project manager should be able to, at that point, they must have delivered on all their specified goals, and the project has come to an end. So the project manager is expected to come up with an handover document and deliverables. So your handover document is going to contain all your set goals and deliverables and the timeline, the timelines to which they were achieved. You can use your Gantt chart for that, but in the Gantt chart, you just have your completed tasks color coded. You can color code your completed tasks with like a green color. Maybe there are pending tasks that you could not achieve due to certain unresolved challenges. Then you can color code them as red. Then there may be tasks that you have achieved but partially achieved due to a showstopper or due to something that needs to be done from someone external to the team. Then you can, yellow code them, right? So those are ways you can, put together your completed Gantt chart, which should reflect in your project handover to your client. So you should also return all the equipment that was put together in the course of the project. So when we're on a project, our clients would usually give us maybe laptops or desktops to work with. You should understand that they are not for Octave or they are not for yourself. You should handle them with care because these things will be returned at the end of the project. So all these equipments, all the resources must be returned within at the project closure. Then a note of warning again is that at the end of the project closure, at the project initiation phase, a non-disclosure agreement on the client's data is usually signed, which should also be signed by every member of the team. In fact, there is an a priori non-disclosure agreement that is signed by every staff of Octave to indicate that your client data would not leak out. So you should be careful and wary of such. You should handle your client's data with care. There should not be any leakage through any member of the team or through any member of the staff of the client's data externally, right? So you should be able to ensure at the project closure stage and also show with evidence that all the client data resource on your laptops has been deleted, has been taken out, and there's no show of leakage. There's no possibility of data leakage, right, of their data. So then you should also be able to itemize the lessons learned and discuss within your team, within the project review team, that these are the lessons we've learned, and celebrate your major milestones and achievements, right, on the project. So that's how to close on a project and communicate to stakeholders on the closing of a project. So all of this would entail doing a lot of paperwork, would also entail you releasing resources, both soft resources and hardware resources. Soft resources means that I just give an example on the data leakage. You must ensure there's no data leakage. You must ensure that all the clients' resources as per infrastructure, laptop servers are handed over. Then all archive documents as well, consumed in the course of the project lifecycle, are also neatly handed over to the client. So that's the end of a project life cycle, and it's majorly in 5 phases, which we have discussed, and we've looked at in detail and applied it to scenario within what we do in Octave on how this life cycle, works out in real life, and the roles we as team players or project managers play in achieving a great project success. Okay, that marks the end of our training for today. Thank you all for your listening time. I would like to entertain any questions for now, and let's just have discussion on what we've been learning so far. So if your question is on this, it's fine. If you're trying to relate what we've done today to what we've done previously and ask questions or make comments, then it's also fine. Thank you. That's the end of my training. You can make comments or ask questions. Hello. You can make comments or ask questions. Does anybody want to ask a question, or does anyone have a comment to pass?
Hello, ma.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma. I just have a comment, not a question per se. Yeah, the class was explanatory. I was able to understand the different phases of carrying out a project, and I've been able to find out that probably in future for future purposes, probably when I'm creating a project plan, maybe with a Gantt chart, I could actually divide the project into different phases and define activities for each of those phases before eventually drawing out the chart or the RASI chart or whatsoever that I'm using at that point in time. So, yeah, that's what I've learned today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bubi. Okay, maybe we should just do a roll call and listen to everyone say something. I like the way Bubi summarized his learnings. It's very good, and it's a way of showing that you're clear on what is being taught in the class, and when the time comes for you to apply it, you would be able to do just right on it. Thank you so much, Ebubi. So I'm just going to follow the participant's name and make a roll call and ask you to speak, or at that point in time you may also ask questions. I would really like to entertain your questions, right? You can ask me questions based on maybe past scenarios that you've experienced that are related to what we have taught in class, or questions based on what we've taught in class. Yeah, just ask something, or as in just clear out any doubts you might have in your mind as per what we have taught or done so far, because this class is unlike other classes. It's more of thought-based class. It's an experience-based class. We need to. I can teach you everything we are doing in this class in a day. It's just project management. As in I can summarize everything for you in a day, but it will only make sense to you when I'm able to relate it to real life scenarios or experiences of what is being done, or what we have done in Octave, right? And you would understand it better when you are facing those experiences yourself, and then that time you will be able to remember and apply these things, just like it will be mentioned. Okay, so in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to do a roll call of names and ask each and every person to speak based on all that I've mentioned earlier. So I'm going to start off now with Toro. Toro, you can speak now. I hope she's on the call because when I called her last time, she didn't say anything.
Yes,
Hello,
I'm on the
Toro.
phone, ma.
Oh,
I had network challenge the other time. I was trying to log in back. Thank you very much for the class, ma. It was very explicit. Okay. One of the parts that really got my attention was when you were emphasizing communication. So it says to me again that project management is definitely not a one man job. So it also really speaks a lot on how every member of the team must really be a team player. Yes, you must be able to communicate not just to your team members but also to your project manager. And the part where you also said that you don't necessarily have to wait till a task is being assigned to you before you pick it up. Once you notice any any um um any lapses, you can just probably call the attention of your project manager, explain and show that you are willing to take it up and ask for your permission to do so. Okay, a question I would like to ask is at or in what case, yes, in what case would you prefer, or I mean, in what case would you optimize the Scrum meeting rather than a weekly meeting? Are there particular case scenarios where you just, as a project manager, you just know that, okay, for this particular project, you really do not need a Scrum meeting, you can just do a weekly meeting? Or is it after having tried the weekly meeting and then it didn't work well, so you just then get back to the Scrum meeting? That's my question, ma. Thank you, ma.
yeah, great question. Yeah, I like that question. I would answer that question by first giving you a thought. So one of my mentors once said something. He said, if you want to eat an elephant, he said, how do you eat an elephant? He now answered, he said, the best way to eat an elephant. You know, an elephant is very big, right? So the best way to eat an elephant is to break it into smaller chunks and eat it as a whole, right? But let's say you want to eat a prawn. A prawn is the bigger type of crayfish, you know. You could just put a prawn, the whole of the prawn in your mouth, and you can eat it as a whole, but you can't eat an elephant that way. So that would kind of answer your question in the sense that when you have a very large project to deal with, or when you are dealing with a larger team, then it's better for you to get to monitor in smaller pieces. So if I'm working with a team of, let's say, 20 people, the way I work with them will be different from the way I'm working with a team of 2 people, right? Now, if I'm working with a team of 2 people and these 2 people are handling giant projects, the way I work with them will be different with the way I'm working with 2 people that are handling a project for an SME, for a small environment, for a small scale company, or for a startup company or something like that. So to summarize your answer, I would apply the daily stand-up meeting, which is the Scrum method, for a larger meeting, a larger team or a larger project, so that I can monitor the project easily and be able to accommodate and be able to solve challenges as quickly as they come up. But if I'm monitoring a project that on off the top of my head, I can easily remember everything that is going on within the project, or maybe the project is just a small project. Then I can decide to space out the meeting review session with them into maybe something like a weekly or even bi-weekly, or sometimes I could even do like a WhatsApp call to say, Oga Alpha, have you done this? Where are we? Stuff like that. So it all depends on how large the project is and how large the team is.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Okay, next person. I'm going to skip Ebube. Ebube already spoke. So next person is Henry. Hello, Henry.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Henry. Would like to hear from you. Any questions?
For this class, there are no questions. Just like Ibibi said, the classes were so self-explanatory. I understood the whole stages. I used to think, project management was just normal project management or just project management before I joined this class. Before I started my service, I put something in my CV, my curriculum vitae, that I was an expert in project management. And when I went for my interview, my interviewer asked me to give a broad insight of what project management is, and I was just shocked. I didn't just know what to say until I came for this class. I just understood the basic tasks and the basic stages in project management. So I think I've broadened my knowledge a lot in project management, and all I need to understand now is or what is going to really better my knowledge in project management is when I really take a task in real life projects, so I can apply all the stages I've learned in executing a real project. So basically, I would really want us to work as a team in one particular project where each and every one of us is really assigned, and where the pressure really mounts on us, and how to really carry out the full task with everything we've learned. So, and that's just basically it.
Okay, cool. I'm happy you've learned something, and what you just discussed is a process of unlearning and relearning. So sometimes you assume you know some things, and when you then sit in the class and learn, then you are now able to say, oh, okay, this is the perspective to what I know, and this is what it really is. Yeah, it's a good one. Thank you, Henry. So next person, Ubat.
Okay, good morning, good morning, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for the class. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you for this special session. So basically, I've learned the ins and outs of project management, the elements of project management. One thing I really enjoyed was from our last class was the agile type of project management that learns as you execute the project and things improve as you execute the project. Also from today, what I really picked out was the importance of confidentiality and teamwork in project management. As confidentiality is really all you have, that maintains your standards and maintains your privacy of the data for yourself and for your client as well. And also, with respect to handing over a project once you're done, you ensure that you sign out with every single thing so data doesn't leak out, still path of confidentiality in documents and all of that. Without the meetings and how you've explained to editor, I really appreciated that. I was going to ask that question as well, because they both seem like something that I really enjoyed how you explained the elephant description and how but I don't think I'd ever want to eat an elephant.
Hello,
Anyway,
but why
yes, ma'am, can you hear me?
breaking? I can barely hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Can anyone else hear me? Hello? Is anyone hearing me?
We cannot hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Henry, how can
I
you
can
not
hear
hear
you.
me?
Hello?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Madam Okpe, can you hear me now? I think it's her network. Hello?
Okay,
Madam Okpe?
I'm back now. Hello, yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Okay.
it was your network.
Yeah, I think it was my network.
Sorry about that. Should I continue or what's the last thing you got from me, please? Or should I start over?
No, just summarize again for me, please. Before the
Okay.
network went off, it was as if you were murmuring, so I was training my ears to hear you.
Okay. Anyways, I started out with appreciating the 5 elements of project management that you started out with, and then I also remember the agile project management from our last class, agile style of project management as opposed to the traditional waterfall method of project management. Then I moved forward to seeing the things I picked out today, which was confidentiality and teamwork, and also when you're handing over your project, you should also ensure that you sign out and hand over properly. I think I was also trying to appreciate your explanation
So,
with Saditora's question with regards the method of meetings to handle based on the project you're handling. The elephant and crayfish, prawn example you used was very clear to us. So yeah, I don't really have any question. The class was quite clear. Thank you very much, ma'am.
okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Uber. Thank you for the comments on Agile. Agile is actually very good. There's even certification for Agile. There are some enterprise organizations that practice Agile as a framework. Like that is the only method they use for practicing or carrying out their project, especially for software-based companies like systems or what is this, computer warehouse group that develop software. They do a lot of agile methodology framework. So I hope I learned something new, understood how to apply it. Thank you, Uber. Ibitamuno. Yeah, you have the floor now. Ibitamuno, you can speak.
Good afternoon, ma. Good morning, ma. Sorry. What I took from the class today was I understood all the phases, but what I took mostly was the project planning, how to from the creation of the project plan to the financial plan, quality plan, and the risk plan. I shall have a question, but it's not from today's class. It's from general class we've had. I wanted to know the difference between a commercial, like a commercial project plan, a commercial proposal, and a technical.
Good go.
Hello,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, you said it's not from today's class.
Yeah,
Yes, I can hear you.
I said my question is I wanted to know the difference between a commercial and that's a commercial proposal
Go
and
on.
a technical proposal. Hello?
Hello. You said technical what?
A commercial proposal, a commercial plan, and a technical proposal. Hello.
Hello. It's breaking. I didn't hear you well. But it's fine if it am not. Thank you. Because of time. Thank you. Thanks for the comments. Okay, let me move on to Daniel now. Daniel.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the classes. That have been very interesting. I enjoyed learning about the different models and being able to apply them. When I submit my last submission for the Gantt chart, I knew something was missing because every template I kept checking, I kept seeing that each of the attacks were broken into different phases, but I couldn't bring myself to classify them to different phases. But to be today's class now, I know I can do that better. So I try to take a review of my submission. And apart from that, also, I one thing I loved about the project management is the Scrum, the Scrum. I actually love the idea of how Scrum works and how you have to take, it for me it's a very, very great tool in communication. When you can communicate everybody together, we hear our mindset together as one, and if every morning I believe it will aid communication a whole lot. So that's something I look forward to implementing in future projects and tasks. Moving on. I I've learned a lot. And thank you very much for being patient with us and explaining in detail.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. Yeah, I'm happy you guys are recapping on those things that we've learned in class, and it's really good for me to see that you can connect the dots together and um, harness all these things together into what you've learned. Thank you. Marvelous.
Hello, ma. Good morning, ma.
Yeah.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much for the class so far for today and even for the previous classes that we've had with you. I must say that I've learned a lot, and my experience is quite similar to Henry's own, who also felt that he knew so much about project management, but on coming on board for this program, I've been able to realize that I know nothing, but during the period of this training, I've been able to actually learn a lot, I must say, and particularly for today's class, one of the key takeaways for me was being able to, identify your stakeholders. And I really like the fact that, sometimes you mentioned that sometimes there are some people that they might not actually be the sponsors, but then they are key stakeholders, which could, either slow down our jobs and it's important that we have a very good working relationship with them such that whenever we need anything from them, such that whenever we need their assistance, because of the working relationship we have with them, they are readily able to offer us the assistance we need. And also about communication, very apt. Communication is key, and being able to communicate even to the upline and the downlines effectively is one thing that I personally I know I've been able to is one of my shortcomings, and be you having you hammer on it consistently is something that I know that I also have to put in more effort to do. Then I might have two questions. I have two questions actually. My first question is this. Okay, we talked about during the project closure, handing over all the resources, maybe we're giving laptops, we're giving this and that. in the event that maybe, it gets damaged, or maybe, say for instance, I was given a laptop, the laptop gets stolen, how do we manage that? Secondly, my question is, is it possible that maybe after setting out the schedule for the project, let's say a project is supposed to last for 6 months, is it possible that after the 6 months, the vendor is unable to meet up with um, the project, um, the project scope, the scope of the project, and all? So how do we manage that if it actually happens? How do we manage that, and how do we come to a consensus with the clients, to take care of that? Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome, Marvelous. Thank you for raising those questions. Yeah, I always like it when people ask questions. So, starting off on the first one, whenever there's a damage on any of the project items, then before I even mention that, we need to understand that that's a risk, and that should be put together in your we usually put that together maybe in our proposal or our risk, just to mention our risk, whatever, on the project. So for such risk, a way to mitigate it is to have mentioned it beforehand. But for instance, if there is a theft on the project, first of all, one of a way of mitigating on this kind of risk is that we don't move our laptops away from client site. In fact, we even state that in our project, wherever, that we don't move our infrastructure, your infrastructure, we don't move it away from site. So whatever site has been assigned, which is usually the office, the client's office space, you come to the client site without, you can come with your own personal laptop, but you can't plug your personal laptop into their network, so you don't gain access to their own data. And when you work with their own laptop on site, you don't take it home. So that way, you even mitigate against theft. But if there is a damage while you're in the office environment or while you're on site, then the client will usually take ownership of such damage. Let's say maybe there's a blue screen, or let's say mistakenly, though you should avoid such mistakes anyway, but if there's a mistaken water pour on your laptop or something like that, most times the client will take ownership of such damages and would repair it. But of course, those might affect your project, because imagine if a laptop or a desktop gets spots in your hand, the client might not give a replacement soon, and that might be that you are out of a tool that you use to get your work done. So of course, we also need to avoid those damages. Then the second question on, what's the second question on again? Sorry, remind me the second question.
Hello, ma. Yes, ma. I said, if in the event that one is unable to meet up with the duration of the
Okay, I remember now. Yeah. So before we kickstart on a project, we always agree on a project scope and timeline and cost. So the agreement is signed by both Octave and the client. So as long as it's within the agreed timelines, then clients cannot just ask us to go away from site like that. But for such kind of mishap, we usually have like a, but if there be any of such, maybe due to clients having issues or due to an unplanned event or unplanned circumstance happening, then we'll go back to the agreements on our work plan. And sometimes it might even involve like some legal contract rights. So the usual one that we've had before occurring in Octave is maybe clients are not able to meet up with payments and then they defer our payments. Some clients have even had to defer our payments for a long time, running into months or even like a year plus. And we take that up legally, right? And then we resolve and both parties get paid, it's resolved legally. We have legal bindings on our contracts. Thank you. Okay, next person. You're welcome. Toby.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am, for the class. I really enjoyed it and was able to learn, and also later on, yes, I actually realized, well, I've actually been in a project, like a project management scheme before without even realizing until you mentioned it today, because I've always been in Scrum meetings without even knowing what it was. And definitely, yes, as Daniel said, they're always effective. As Daniel said, yes, because you get to talk about your previous day achievements and what you hope to do for the present day and moving forward, yes. So yes, Scrum meetings are very good, very effective, very productive also, because it gives you the view of what tracker that you would have to keep track of what you've done so far and what you've not done so far. And yes, from today's class, I would say I really enjoyed the fact that you emphasized on teamwork and also follow up with the project manager and also with the project team on what is going on and what has been done so far. So the teamwork cannot be overemphasized, because that is very important. If the team is not in unity, then definitely the project is going to fail. So it is very important to always carry everyone.
That's right.
Ma? Hello?
You went off, Fason. Yeah, but I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know which one you heard, but yes, I was just on teamwork and follow up. That always wanting to add to the project, even when you have less to do, and then you've done what you have to do. I guess that is a take home for me. Thank you very much, ma'am. I do not have any questions.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you for all the recap and for mentioning to us that you've even been in Scrum meetings without knowing it. Yeah, so those are some of the tools that people engage to monitoring projects, and it's been very effective. It's really been very, very effective. Thank you. And then Sunday, and we end the class. Richard now.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks so much for the lecture. It was so explanatory, giving us from the class. So my key takeaway is the communication. Like, cannot the pillars of communication are actually important, like the effective and efficiency. Because on projects, people tend to work in silos. At the end of the day, they won't be able to report what they are doing and to create a gap on projects. So again, my second takeaway is about the project finance. Like we have to make sure we are making profits. The margin from what I'm going to spend on the projects and what's going to ensure should not be of nature. So those are my major criteria. But I have a question on stakeholder management. So, are you still listening? Everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. You mentioned communication and that people tend to work.
Yeah, people tend to work in silos. Yeah, I said that's one. So I want to ask a question on stakeholder management.
Yeah.
So for example, if maybe an aesthetic sponsor is trying to bring in. Hello.
Okay, you said you want to ask a question. Yes, I didn't hear your question. Please come again.
Okay, it's based on stakeholder management. So, for example, if maybe an aesthetic sponsor is trying to bring in a new tax on the project and it wasn't in the scope of work in your initial agreements, but the stakeholder feel like this should be part of the work, but you didn't calculate it. For example, maybe you're trying to do the websites now and they just paid you for the development, but they feel like you should do the content management or like the search engine optimization. So how do you manage that kind of situation? They are telling you you have to do it. It's already part of your payments. So also know how will you manage that kind of situation? It's horizon projects.
Yeah, I like that question. Yeah, even let me relate it to analytics for you. So managers, they do that a lot. They come up with new requests and they just try part of the of the project plan and tell you that no, it's part of it, you do it. Interesting. Our aim project should be making our customers, who are our clients, and making our stakeholders happy. But again, we shouldn't make them happy at the detriment of the project or at the detriment of our own self. So you must clearly define your project plan. And you know your project plan is not agreed on by yourself alone. Your project plan is agreed by both parties, both the vendor, which is Octave, and the client. So once the project plan is, that becomes like a standpoint for both teams. So when those kind of, you clearly state, though sometimes they try to, maneuver their way to say, if you are doing analysis for us, then Markov is also an analytics. Now you should be able to come and implement that for us, even though you don't even know what it is. But maybe they've gone for one meeting or they've gone for one program somewhere, and then they've heard the latest buzzword, and then they come back to the analytics and say, we want this and we want you to do it. You must do it. So you must be able kind of make it clear to your client that this is not part of the project, but if you would like us to implement this for you, then need an addition. You can also request for an additional cost, but in a stylish way. So more or less focus on timeline, because whenever you bring up anything cost or money, people will usually first of all throw a gloomy face or first of all push back. So you don't want to start with cost. Just say that, don't worry, we can handle this for you, but we'll need an additional timeline. And then you now put the timeline towards the end of the project. So if it's towards the end of the project and because of that additional request, the project is extended, then so be it. They have to pay additional cost. You understand? So that way, you're not positioning additional cost to them, but additional costs are surfaced because of addition. So that's a way of handling it. Another way of handling it is if you feel that the request is not so much and a problem or so much ado like that, and you feel you can handle it, is just one off, then you could take it on and just give to them for goodwill sake. Remember, you're trying to build a working relationship, and when you do these things for them, it will make them happy. Then, just for the sake of goodwill, for the sake of making them happy, if it's a one-off, if it's something that will not eat deep like that into your time of the project, then you can, put it on and add it and do it for them. And that way, you just add it. Make sure you add it into your project plan as part of your deliverables, even though it was not part of the initial project plan. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Sunday.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. I have a question around
Welcome.
what I was actually asked, because we did a project for an FMCG company, and then it's a stock optimization process. And okay, they now said we are the one that will continue to help them to manage the data and continue to help them be a house everything, and it wasn't part of the project plan. So just because of what he now said, the answer you gave about trying to build relationship and everything, I really get the message very well, now the answer very well. Also, from the class, I think for me, anyways, fine. I will say I've been on many projects, but the I'm not really I don't really put mind to is the project closure, whereby documentation, lesson learned, like us. I just believe sometimes when you just finish a project, fine. But I think any other, I think sometimes there are so many errors, so many things you don't even know. Like you learn from that other project just finished, and you might also need it later on. So documentation of the project you finish might actually help in other ways actually. So thank you very much for the class. I really enjoyed the class. Thank you.
You're welcome, Sunday. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for relating it to your experiences. We learn from each other's experiences, right? And we also learn from experiences that we ourselves have gone through, right? Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure taking this class. I'll miss you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wish you all the very best, and as you get on along the project, as you get on with Octave, yeah, you guys are doing great. Keep at it, right? And I'm happy with all that you've learned. Keep adding to knowledge. It's very important. And nobody is a citadel of knowledge. Learn from one another. Be a great team player, because that's a way you can learn and improve on yourself as you move on in your career line, and even in anything that you do, right? And sometimes they might just be a weak member of a team, maybe because of circumstances that a team player might be going through. Try to bring out the best from every team member. Don't just accord them that, oh, this person is not a team player, or this person is not helping us to move forward in the project. They might just be going through certain things they may not be able to easily and openly share with you. You may sometimes try to give excuses for others till they come back in full spirit. Yeah. So that's also another thing I've learned with working in the team. Try to give excuses for others, though it might not be very convenient, because in giving excuses for them, you might take up their job or take up their tasks just to buffer up on the project and meet up with timelines. But that way also they will see that, oh, this person cares. Despite my weakness, despite my excuses, they are fronting for me. And you may not know when they would be useful for you and then front for you. It might even be outside the project. It might be something so different that they are good at. I always try to work with people. Someone who might not be very, very fantastic on the assigned tasks might be fantastic on some other thing that might not be directly related to the project, but important to the success of the project. You understand? So don't just don't make anyone a castaway. Work with their strength and help them to own their skills. That's HONE. That's sharpen their skills on the areas they are struggling with. And that way you will be much more impactful. You would also that way help them to overcome whatever challenges they are going through and help them to also learn the lessons all by themselves. So I will end the class today on that note. I'll end the class today on that note. Thank you all. Sorry we took much longer time, but I think it was worthwhile. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ma. You too. Bye,
Thank you so
Ma.
much, Ma.
Welcome. Bye, everyone.
Hey.